In this lecture, I will give you a quick introduction to physics. Going inside of Unity, I will show you that you can have realistic motion and rotation just by adding some components without having to actually code that. You don't need to program to add physics to simulate real life mechanics. What do I mean by this? Well, the best is to do it and learn from it. So I'm going to add a simple 3D object. I'm going to add a sphere. So 3D object, sphere. You guys should know how to do that. We see it here. Now I'm going to add a plane. So 3D object, plane. Here we go. Now I see a ball in the plane. I'm going to take the ball and press the moving part, so that's the W key, and move just the sphere and move it up. All right, so I'm moving the sphere in the upward direction. Now that I've done this, my next step is to zoom out. I'm using the mouse. I have a trackpad, and you can press two buttons down and zoom in and out. All right, so with two buttons down, you can zoom in and out. It's kind of a pinch on the phone. All right, now I'm going to press play, and you will see that nothing is happening. We just see a ball, and on top of that ball, right below that ball, we see the plane. Nothing's happening. Now, what I'm going to do is just zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click on main camera, and I can actually see the main camera appearing here. So this is what I see. And inside of the field of view, I'm going to make the field of view smaller, meaning that I can see more. All right, so I split it by 2. It was at 60, I put it at 30. Now if I go to the game, I can see it better. All right, so in no time I'm about to add physics, and this will move like in real life. I'm going to select the sphere, and then click on component. Go to physics, not physics 2D, because we're in a 3D game now. So use physics, and here I'm going to select the rigid body. All right, so rigid body means that the sphere is going to behave like a physical rigid body, just like it would do for, let's say you have a glass in your hand or a cup and you drop it, then this is a rigid body and it will behave just the same way. So now I'm going to press play and check this out. As soon as I press play, the ball fell. Now, it didn't have much time to fall, so what I'm going to do is put the ball higher so that you guys can see it better. There we go. And I'm going to press play. You guys saw that? It just dropped. Now, the reason why this worked is because, and it stopped, is because now the sphere has a sphere collider. I never had to add this myself. Inside of the inspector, you can see it. It was there as soon as I created the sphere, and it has a rigid body that I added. Okay, so the rigid body is simulating the physics, and it's using gravity. That's why it's going all the way down. Now, if you remove the use gravity, this would not go as expected. The rigid body would be there, but it would not fall. So it behaves like it would behave in space. All right? Cool. Now, what you want to know is that also the plane, if you select the plane also has a mesh collider, meaning that because it has a collider, it knows to stop it. If I remove the mesh collider, if I disable it from the plane, and I press play, guess what's going to happen? Well, the ball's going to go through. Well, I have to select the ball first and re-enable the rigid body and the gravity. So I'm re-enabling the gravity. And now, going to the game, I'm going to press play, and I'm going to show you that it's going to go through. It's going to go through the plane and not stop. Let's press play and check it out. You guys see that? It went just through. And the only way to stop this is to add rigid bodies. So if somehow the plane did not have a rigid body, a collider, you need to add one. So I'm going to show you some of them that don't have a collider. For example, if you add just, let's say, your own objects, they will not have mesh colliders. You will have to add them yourself. Okay? So remember, if you import by going to asset, import new package or import new assets, most of the time yours will not have the box colliders and the colliders. So you will have to add the colliders yourself. Having said so, I'm going to add now a cube just to show you that it also works with a cube, right? And I'm going to move the cube up, right? Now I'm going to rotate the cube. So I select the cube, I press the E key down, or I could press on the top left corner on the rotation right there. That's another way. And I'm going to rotate it by about 45 degrees to the side. All right. And now that I've done this, what I'm going to do instead of the game, I can see it, but it's not showing in the right direction. So let me press Ctrl Z and move it in the other direction. How do I know? Well, if the camera is facing this way, you guys can see the camera here, then we'll need to move it where the camera can see it. So that would be probably to this side. Let's see this. Go to the game. Yep. All right. So the cube has moved. Now, if I press play, the sphere will touch the cube and then fall. And it went through because you got to select the plane and make sure that your plane has the mesh collider enabled. I just enabled it again. Now it will work. Right? So you can press play and now you will see the sphere will touch the cube and start rolling down. All right. And as you can see, I never had to create any physics. Now, if you want to program this yourself manually, this will be a pain to make sure that you have the collision happening with the sphere and the cube, and then it drops down and then it starts rolling to the horizontally. It's very hard to actually code this. So thank God we have the physics. All right, so this was a quick introduction to physics. Now there are more physics components, but know that we've already used the box collider, and there are different types of colliders, but at the end of the day, these are all colliders, so they behave in the same way, they just have different shapes. Now we use the rigid body. We added one on the sphere so that it knows that it's a physics object and it can touch other objects. But no, there's also the character controller that allows you to control any object and make them behave like a character from a first-person shooter or any games, and that could interact with other objects. Cool. And then there's joints like it would be in real life when you want to connect objects. I'm not going to go into too many details. And if you want to know more about the physics, then you need to go into a higher course. This is an introduction to Unity. So this course does not go into too many details. Now, if you want the exact knowledge about game physics, this course is all about game physics. It teaches you everything you can imagine in all details. So I would advise you to go and take a look at this course. This is on Unity, and you're building some really interesting physics like chains and things like this. So the name of this course is Unity 2016 Game Physics, and I'm going to create a coupon code for you right now. So this is the URL, and use the coupon code celebrate. Okay, so let me write it down so that you guys can know. I'm going to use the coupon code celebrate. All right, cool. And I'm going to make it, I don't know, for maybe $10. All right, see you guys in the next lecture.